I think we're live. Just double checking. Thank you, Tahir. Thank you so much. You're the first viewer, so I really appreciate that. So, well, this is going to be a normal live stream. I'm sorry, I only have one screen, so I can't. So you'll have to bear with me on this one. So, yeah, let me just double check everything if I'm live on my YouTube as well as my Facebook. If you're watching me on Facebook, I'd rather have you on my YouTube. Facebook is not really the platform where I would stream coding, but since I know a lot of people who are on Facebook, that is the reason why I have to do it at both ends so I can get some views on my YouTube. But anyways, the purpose is not really to stream, but to stream the way I code. So if you want to learn how to code or you want to see someone code live, it's not an easy thing actually, because I mean, I would be afraid to really share my screen and my code editor to anyone when I'm coding. But I had a couple of things that I had to build anyways. So normally what I do, I just keep on coding and keep talking to myself. YouTube and streaming was on my mind for a long time, but again, it's been 2 years since I posted my first few videos on the channel, but it never went through. So yeah, unfortunately, I only have one screen right now, so I cannot see if there is anyone even watching me or not. So I'll look at your comments later on. This is going to be thank you, Tahir. By the way, all my Urdu audience, this is on Code Dev, which is supposed to be my channel in English. So I'll do it in English because my target audience, again, is kind of worldwide on this one. So I'm going to build just to give you an idea, I have a project where I need a data table. The project is in Vue.js. The backend is in Laravel. So the problem, if I have to define it, is we need a data table which consumes the API from Laravel API, right? And this data table is not going to be a simple data table. You can compare it with data grids. So you can take a look at data grids from different providers. Mostly all those data grids, for example, one of the best ones is AG Grid. These are not free. If you go to the pricing, their pricing will really shock you. So I need something which we can scale eventually as we need and build on top of, but it has to be free. And for this scenario, we know the backend is in Laravel, right? So a solution that is tightly coupled with the API response from Laravel, that would be great, because I want this data table. So yeah. So the features that I need to add, the first one will be, again, we need to display data. Then we need to be able to sort data. Now the problem is the backend is in Laravel. The front end is in JavaScript or in Vue.js, right? So the server is different and the client is different. It's not a Next or Nuxt application where you have the same tool for the full stack, And in that case, since I did work on Next and Nuxt, quite a bit, that becomes a lot easy. If you're doing your entire application in JavaScript, super simple. But if you have two different stacks and your API, you're consuming an API, then a lot of things get terrible. And one of them is type safety. So again, this gives away a bit of context that it will be a TypeScript. Let me just say TypeScript. I don't know what happened to my typing because my mic is right in the way. So we need to display data. We need to be able to sort data, and the sorting has to be hybrid. What I mean by hybrid is when you have a data table, you click on a column, okay? You click on once, it sorts in descending order. You click again, it sorts in ascending order. This sorting can be two ways. One way is you just sort on the front end. So you have a JavaScript function which just sorts the data based on which column you click. The second is you send the request back to the server, and then server returns with a new response and the new sorted response. Now, another thing, pagination, which brings about this problem of data sorting. So if you try to sort the data on the front end and your response is paginated, then that's going to break things. Your sorting will work, but the data, let's say you have 1,000 rows, or let's say you have 100 rows in database and you're only displaying 50, the remaining 50 will not be in that sorting. This is one of the issues that I have currently. I've already implemented this solution, this component in the project that I'm working on. But it doesn't really work well because the sorting right now is only on the front end. So by hybrid, I mean if there is more data to be fetched, then we will ask the backend to send more data. If we have all the data, then we will probably sort on the front end, because the goal in this project is also to minimize the number of requests we make to the backend, and sorting is a little tricky, and it does consume a lot of resources in your database. So yeah, sorry. Let me just double check my stream if everything is okay. I don't want to talk to ghosts. So looks like everything is okay on Facebook and also on YouTube, which is good. Okay, awesome. So coming back to the point, TypeScript. It has to have TypeScript. It has to have the sorting algorithm, which should work hybrid both on the front end and back end. What else do we need? We need the load more, which I think is already covered in pagination, so I don't need to show it. But the pagination has to be handled by the data table component itself. Right now, the way I do pagination is I call my parent component that the load more button has been clicked, or we have scrolled to a certain height, and then we make an Ajax, an API call and fetch more data. Now I want my component to be responsible for the pagination. And at the end of the day, this will be an open source thing. This component will be open source. So if you're working with the Laravel backend and the JavaScript and the Vue frontend, then you can make use of it. But again, I'm just starting off. I still have just an idea and nothing more than that, nothing concrete. This will be my first go at it. So first of all, I will go ahead and set up my project. Right now, there is an empty directory. So I need to create two things. One, I need to create my backend, and then I need to create my frontend as well. So for the backend, I will just simply create a Laravel application. So, and also I haven't really worked with Laravel 11, which was released last week. So this is going to be Laravel new, and let's call it backend. Maybe I'll say data table backend. And let's wait for our Laravel application to wrap up. Okay. Well, something good has happened with Laravel 11. If any of you has worked with Laravel before, as I can see, I really don't need to run any command. Normally, you create a Laravel project and then you run composer install and all. But if I'm not wrong, I already have the vendor folder, which means my Laravel ran the command itself, and it also migrated, which is nice. And the reason for this migration is because in Laravel 11, they they changed the default database driver to SQLite. If I go to my env files, um, down at data table, sorry, database. Where is database? Oh, database connection is SQLite. So this is the default connection. You can change it. I would probably be using my Postgres. But again, for now, I don't really care too much about my backend. I just need a backend which returns me some response. We can later on use Faker and add a bunch of data into that. For now, I just need an API which gives me the response in the format that I need, so I can start working on my Vue component as soon as I can. Today's stream will be for just an hour or two, not more than that. But if you guys watch this video today, later, because it will, it will still remain on this channel and on this page. So if you still want to continue, which I'm pretty sure you will, if you're into this stack, this will be a nice learning experience, because I honestly have no idea what I will be building. All I know is that I have a problem, I need a component. The solution for that are available online, they are paid, and the ones that are free, they are not as good as the ones that I want. So this will be a nice experience for you to learn as well. So, okay, my Laravel application should be working now, and I'm not going to use PHP Artisan Serve, which if you are a Laravel developer, you might do. I'm on Mac and I'm using Laravel Valet. So what I need to do. So I'm using Valet, so I'm just going to say Valet link. And what this will do is this will link my project so I can access it at .test. So now if I write my data table dash backend, can I copy this name? Okay, let's just say rename, because I need this name. All right, perfect. And if I go to my browser, sorry, and with .test, it should have a Laravel application. No, it didn't go through. Why? Do I have a... Oh, sorry, I ran the command Valet in the wrong folder. So Valet unlink. Oh yeah, thank you for the suggestion. Then I'm gonna do cd into my folder, my backend folder, and then I'm gonna say Valet link. And if everything goes well with link, it should. Now we should be able to access our new Laravel application at data table dash backend dot test. Perfect. Okay, I'm just checking my YouTube again just to make sure everything is running smoothly, because I know it's my first stream, so I'm not going to have any viewer anyways, and it's also a very niche thing. So, but yeah, I would love to build a community if you guys want to hop in. So we got Laravel link, which gives me my project. So my backend is pretty much done. There are a lot of things. If you're a Laravel developer, you might be surprised, why don't we have the API route, which I will actually need. But let me shift my focus for a second from my backend project to my front end. So I'll go one directory back, and I'm going to use bun to create my Vue Vue project. And if I'm not wrong, it will be bun install or bun create Vue latest. Yeah, this should create a Vue project, and I'm going to call it, let's just call it data table. I'm going to use TypeScript. I don't need JSX support. Let me just zoom it in. I don't need the router. Do I need a router? I don't need a router because I will be just testing one component, and one component is all that I need. I don't need Pena, though it will be helpful if I use store, but maybe if I need, I'll add later. I don't need to test actually. I might add testing later, but for now, I just want to keep things as simple as possible. ESLint, yeah, I do want to use ESLint, and I also want to use Prettier. It's something new. Debug extension. Let's go with yes. So now I need to run these commands. First one. Then I need to run bun install, and this hopefully won't take too long, not as much as npm used to. And then bun format, which is for Prettier, and bun dev, we should set up our dev server. Okay. While it's installing, well, Oh, that was fast. My internet is okay, but I really enjoy using Bun so far. Normally, if you're a JavaScript developer or if you do Vue or any of these frameworks, you usually use npm. Um, Bun is the new hot thing in the town, so I'm just trying to use it. And let's do one more thing here. Okay, sounds good. No screen. What do you mean no screen? Am I not sharing my screen yet? Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank you so much. I was doing all this without sharing my screen. Okay, let me just go back. Sorry. I'll probably cut this part from my stream if I put it on. This is such a beginner's mistake. This is my my first time anyway. So okay, let me turn on my. Thank you, Hamza, for saving me. So we have this Laravel API. I've already actually went through this, but I wasn't sharing screen, so I'll just go at it again. So I have the Laravel API. This is the data table component front end. Let's just say data table. So I'm basically trying to build a data table which consumes the Laravel's API in a standard Laravel format. And this has to be able to display data that normal data tables do. And then it also has to have the pagination. The secret of this pagination will be that to this component, I will just pass just one prop. And that prop will be the resource that we will get from Laravel. And it should be able to handle the pagination based on just one prop. It should be able to handle the data sorting. The sorting will be hybrid. If you listen to me before, you might probably already know. By hybrid, I mean, so normally when you sort table, either you can just make a request to the backend, and then the backend does the sorting and then sends you a new response. So your entire data table, your entire set of response is updated. Um, and this is from the case that you when you click on sort button, it goes to the backend and then it comes back to the front end. So the sorted data comes from the backend. You don't do anything on the front end. The second approach is you just do it on the front end, but doing it on the front end is never secure enough. Not secure enough. It's never robust enough. You're always going to miss data because the data will be paginated. So let's say you have 100 rows in database, and you run you sort your columns. This sounds very simple. All you're doing is just sorting. Normally a beginner, what he will do and what I used to do was just sort on the front end, or if I'm using something like Nuxt or Next, then 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 request goes to the backend. But in this case, since the API is in Laravel, the front end is in JavaScript, so two different stacks completely, and we're consuming an API. This sorting won't work in this case. So for that case, we need to implement this hybrid data sorting, where in most cases, we will just ask the backend to sort the data again and send us. But if we have already fetched all the data, let's say we have 100 records in database and I've already fetched 100 records, in that case, I can decide whether I want to sort on the front end or I want to go back to the backend and then ask the backend to sort the data. So that is a bit of logic that we will implement, and then it will be type safe. That is the key. This component has to be as helpful as it can be by using TypeScript. Um, okay, I hope you guys can see my screen now. Um, sorry. So let's go back. Where was I? It's my first day again, so I have literally no idea how to manage all of this on one screen, which sucks really. I need to get a new monitor. But anyways, let's get back to the point. um, and that is, I hope you understand the diagram. This is going to grow as I start coding. I'm going to be adding more details here, so if you start following me from here, it will be easy, but I should talk less and do more. So let's go back to my front end. I have this front end data table. The next command I need to run is bun dev, and this should be able to run my Vue application, which it does. Let me close all these extra tabs. I can probably pin this one. I can also pin this one. I don't need you. You should go away. All right. Okay, next thing I need to do is set up my repository, and I only want to do this for the front end. So let's just say Laravel view, sorry, let's just do it. View Laravel data table. I'll add the description later on. I want this to be public. I don't need any README file as of now. So let's just create a repo. Because if I don't do it right now, I'll just probably miss it. Yeah, we need to run git init. In fact, the command that I need to copy is this one. So when you're working with Git, I don't know, not many people are watching me, so I'm not going to explain everything. But if you're watching and you have any question, you can just let me know. But this is the one that I need to run basically over here. So I'm going to open up a new terminal and just making sure that I'm on the front end folder, which I am. So I'm just going to say git init. And then I'm going to set my remote. And then I'm going to go and git check out. I don't know. I still use master on most of my projects, but I'm just going to check out to main. Is it already created? No, I actually need to create the main branch. So actually, oh yeah, it is. And now I can say git status, git add. And then I can use my sidebar. I like to use it more often than not. And let's just say initial commit, publish the branch. That should set us up. Actually, did I check out to main? No, git. Okay. Anyways, let's just work on master because this is just all right. Anyways, let's get back to. I'm a bit distracted with my notifications as well, so I'm sorry if I miss any of your comments. I will definitely get back to you. I'm looking at my comments on YouTube, so instead of commenting on Facebook, please go to my YouTube and comment because that's where the business is, you know. So anyways, let's get back to the point. Let me zoom out a little bit. And so right now I have my Vue application running, my Laravel application running, but Laravel application has to be my API. The problem with Laravel 11, it's not a problem actually. Everybody loves it, including me. We don't have any route for APIs. So I'll have to go to the Laravel 11 API, and it should be in the release notes. Okay. Before I do that, I need to. Okay, I'm gonna take just 30 seconds break, and then I'll be back because I need to. All right, I had a quick message that I had to reply, but anyways. All right, so coming back to the point, I hope I'm sharing my screen. Am I? No, I'm not. No, actually, I am sharing my screen. Okay, let me just go to my comments and hide the comment. All right, sounds good. Let's go back. I don't want to get distracted because I want this to be like a normal stream, nothing special. Let's go to API. Where is API? There it is. So now we need to run this artisan command, which will basically publish our API file. Okay, sorry. I need to go back to my backend cd. Cd data table dash backend, and here I need to run the command. Yeah, let's run the migrations. I don't really care about migrations. I can reset them anytime. But anyways, let's get back to my Okay, now we have the api.php file. What I'll do is I'll just remove any middleware because I don't want to do any authentication on this one. And let's just have the main route. And just to see if it's working or not, I'm just gonna return response. Where is my copilot response JSON? And we're gonna just return, welcome to the API. And then let's just go to our Laravel app /API, and it works perfect. Now I need to link this API to my Vue application on the front end. For that, let's zoom out and go to my. So here onward, I will be basically working within my front end. So sorry if you're not a Laravel person. It will be okay. A couple of things I need to check in my package.json file. Do I have Axios, which usually comes built in? No, I don't have Axios. So I need to install my Axios as well. Okay, now this is going to be a bit of trouble because I have two projects in my workspace right now, so I need to juggle between them. So I can say bun install Axios. This will install Axios in. Again, these are very simple steps, nothing special here. So Axios and Vue are my dependencies now. Sorry. Again, I'll keep looking at my streams every now and then just to make sure I'm streaming the right thing. Okay, looks good. So now I have Axios, which means I can make the Axios call to this API from my front end. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Let's get rid of everything that we have here from the template start to template end. I don't even need styles. Let me just close my template. All right. I don't need these as well. So I just want to see if my API goes through or not. So I'm just going to create a method here, const. Let's just call it load data, which is going to be an arrow method. And I'm going to make use of Axios. Why is it not giving me? Come on, man. Axios. Okay, I think I'll have to manually import Axios from Axios. There is something wrong, I think. Axios is declared. Okay. Okay. It's just my ESLint which is giving me these errors. Anyways, I'm just going to say axios.get, and get will be from this API. Well, this won't work yet, but let's just say. And this is going to be an asynchronous function. I'm going to await for it. And let's just store it in a const. In fact, let's just get data out of it. So const data is equal to await Axios. Oh my god, I have so many errors. Okay, unknown word, which is actually another extension that I'm using. All right, and then console log data. And to my load data, I'm going to hook into onMounted. Why is my my auto import now works? For some reason it wasn't working before, which bugs me because I need my developer experience to be top notch. So that should do. So on mount, whenever my component mounts, I want to load some data. The data is right here. And let's display that data as well. Let's just say a div. And let's just say data. And while we're loading the data, I also want to show a loader. So let's say const loading is equal to ref false. By default, it should be true actually. So my copilot is not really helping me here. So while it's loading, it will be true. And once loading is done, then loading.false. So what that means is I can go down here and I can say, what I can say here actually, I can say if loading then we can just say loading. And if we have loaded, then let's just display data. Okay. Data dot message, I believe. What are we returning here? Yeah, data dot message. Ignore these type errors because again, we haven't really declared any types yet. So if everything works, it won't work yet. It will still remain loading, and our request should fail. Let me just go with fetch. With the the response should be fail to load response, no data for the resource identifier. Makes sense because we're making the request from a different URL. Okay, and we haven't told Laravel Sanctum that we are going to be making a request from here. So I need to go to my CORS on my Laravel, cors.config, which we don't have, which you will need to actually manually do, manually publish the config. With Laravel 11, everything is hidden. You have to do everything manually if you need a config file, which normally would be sitting in the config folder. If I go to the config folder, where is my config folder? You see, I don't have any CORS files here. So let's just look up for Laravel CORS, Laravel 11 CORS. Yeah, this is the command I need to. I think this command you would need to run even before Laravel 11. But I need to make sure I'm in the front end. So what I'll do, I'll create a new terminal here, and this one will be for my backend only. Data table dash backend, and I will say, I need to just run the command basically, and this will add this cors .config file over here, which we get right here. And now in the allowed origin, I want. So if you don't know this, we have our front end on a different URL, our back end on a different URL. So when you have two different URLs, the Laravel will not let you access the API. I don't know if it's Laravel or it's Sanctum, but again, it's the same thing. It won't let you access that. So you'll have to add the address to the allowed origin in your CORS, and then it should let you do that. Now, if I go ahead and reload, it will still not let me do. Why not? HTTP localhost 5173. Okay, let me go to my APIs. Okay, yeah, sorry. I need to go to /API, but still it should let me do something. CORS error. Okay, I have a few messages. Okay, I think what is the mistake that I'm making? Allowed origins, HTTP. No, not API. Sorry. 5437. I want to allow it to paths API, and where I'm making the mistake, /API. Console log data. Is my front end server running? It is running. Bun is running. So let me just double check one thing. Our API is working. We may need to do it the long way actually, but anyways, it should work. Sorry, welcome to API, yeah, but CORS error. Do I need to add more to my Sanctum configs? Where is my .env? Do I have any Sanctum configuration here? I don't think so. In my app, in my API. Okay, let's take care of this bug together. Okay, preview. Okay, I think I know where the issue is. Sorry. Oops, sorry. Let's say bun bun serve. No, bun dev. Data is still loading, and it will stay loading because again, you know the reason why. Okay. Let me go to my CURS once again. I don't want to go in depth of. I don't want to authenticate. So technically, if you want to authenticate, you need an API token. In that case, it makes sense. But in this case, it should technically let me access that. I need to look into my code actually. So maybe I'll just take 1 minute break. Okay, my stream is. Oh, sorry, I'm back. Okay, I think I need to configure my sanctum. I really didn't want to deep dive into the CORS and API configuration because I don't really need to log in to the to my API. But again, it's probably not going to work without doing that. So for now, for today, because I've already taken a lot of time actually, today I'm going to focus more on the front end and define all the types that we have. And then once we have the fake API working, which I'm going to do, the fake API, then we will go ahead and do the setup. So for now, let's just not make the call at all. Okay. And let's just start building our data table component. So load data, I still need load data, but instead of making the call to the API, I'm going to make a call to my store. So now the store doesn't have to be a Pinia store, but maybe it has to be a Pinia store. So Pinia, let's just install Pinia. I didn't add Pinia before, but I think it would be better if I do things in order in Laravel in Vue. So let's just add Pinia real quick. Get started. Why don't you guys have bun? That's an issue. Okay, let's just say bun install Pinia. Oh, well, it does. Okay, great. So I can go back to my JS file, which should be somewhere around here. So yeah, sorry, my TS file, not JS file. This yellow color is confusing me. Anyways, so I need to create a store first. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a folder, and this will be stores. Actually, I only need one store, so it could be my root store, root.ts, and let's just go back. And in fact, we should return a store from here. So let's just say return. In fact, export function. Let's get the format from here actually. Defining a store. Where is defining a store? There it is. Export const. This is what I need to do. Let's just say use root store and define store. And this is going to be root store. Ideally, it should be a data store, but anyways, define store. I need to import define store from Pinia. Let's do that too. Okay, that's good because now I can only focus on Vue and the TypeScript part because that's the entire purpose of this series, or these live streams will be. So in Pinia, I don't know if I should be teaching you right now. I really want to, just show you what I'm doing, but I'll just try to explain what I'm trying to do here. And once we make it through 5-6 streams, I think we'll have a good data table already. So it will be a nice experience. So in this one, I'm gonna have a function here. The way I use store is very different. Even you can see in the suggestion, what it's suggesting me is state, actions, and getters. But the way I use store for a big project, that's where I learned, that's not really the right way to do the stores. The best way to do the stores is this, just write it like you normally write a composition API. So if you're watching me and you're a Vue developer and you're working with Pinia, this is how you should be doing stores. It's just so peaceful, especially when you're writing hundreds of stores. This is the way to go. So I'm going to create a function which will be get data. Let's just say get data. Okay, and let's just make it an arrow method, and this will be an asynchronous. Well, it has to be an asynchronous because I want to await for data. So const get data. What's wrong here? Oh, okay. I see. The store that we're defining is an object. It doesn't have to be an object. It has to be a function, because you can do both in Pinia. You can define an object store, or you can define a function. So I'm just going to do a method here, and this is what I'm actually telling you. Don't do the object stores unless your application is too small. If there is a chance to grow, and which it usually will grow, this syntax that I use is just pain free. So get data and async, and it will just return an array for now. And let's just say a simple array, nothing special here. Whatever Copilot tells me, I'm just going to go with that. Get data. And now I need to return from this function an object, and this is going to be my get data, a method. If I go back into the parent, before I do go into the parent, I need to register the store. So how do you register a store? Actually, I think I know how to register a store. Do I need to use Pinia? Yeah. I need to go get started. Pinia is equal to create Pinia. And first thing is this. Create Pinia has to be imported from in Pinia. Why is my auto imports not working? That is so strange. I'll have to double check. I'm a very DX person, so if my auto imports are not working, that just ruins everything for me. Maybe I should just reload my Volar. Let's do that. Would probably help. So I need to import create Pinia. And next I need to tell app to use Pinia. So where is my main.ts? After I mount the app? No, before I mount the app. Okay, yeah, because we are using a shortcut here. So this will be const app is equal to create app, and then app.use Pinia. Okay. Okay, if you're watching my live stream, I have to act like I normally do, right? So I hope I'm still sharing my screen. Am I? Yeah, I am. Anyways, let's go back. All right, sounds good. App.use and then app.mount app. I'm not talking too much because I know not many people are watching me right now, but even if you're watching this video later on, just leave a comment down below so I know there is some attention. And if you are into Vue and into Pinia and all this stuff, that would be great. Awesome. Let's do it. All right. My bun server, is it running? No, it's not running. Bun dev. So this should install Pinia for me. And yeah, let's go back to my app component, and let's also import. For now, I'm going to do everything in app component as long as we get the boilerplate and the initial structure of project set up, and then I will start dividing it into multiple components as we need, because the purpose is not to build the project. The purpose is to build that data table component. All right. So okay, sounds good. Now I need to get access to my store. So what happened here is I have this root store right here, use root store. So I just need to import that root store. So I can say const. Okay, so we are export const root store. Okay, we are exporting a function, right? Const root store is equal to sorry, import. This is so confusing. From stores dot slash stores slash root declared, but its value is never used, which we will use. Okay, so use root store. And say const equals to use root store. This should do the job. And where is my TypeScript suggestion? Something is wrong. Get data. Okay, get data is declared by its value is not used. Get data. Okay, is it even picking get data? Const get data any? Yeah, I think it is. Okay, and then here we can. Why am I writing it in main.ts? I'm so lost. Sorry. I need to take this code from here, and I need to put it over here, and then get data will be used. Actually, I should have an alias for my root, which is at. That's good. So I can say at slash stores slash root. This will get me root store, and then get data. Okay. I also need to configure my ESLint and my prettier because it's not really doing anything right now, but it should auto format and all, which we will do eventually. For now, I just want to get started and get in the rhythm. So we have get data from there, and now I can just make a fake call to my get data method, which should give me data. And it shouldn't give me data, actually. It should give me, let's just say, response is equal to get data. And you can say the response, the type is going through, right? Now this response that I'm getting, ideally it should come from the Laravel, right? But it's not coming from Laravel. So I have to get the format of Laravel response. So let's look into the Laravel documentation. I think it should be somewhere like this. Data. Okay. I just need the format, really. Okay, sorry. Let's just search for Laravel pagination, because the response that I'm talking about is the paginated response. That's the standard response that we want to use. So let's go all the way down, and there it is. So yeah, so this is the format. This is the shape of the data that we will expect from Laravel to return, and this is what I'm going to do here. This is a valid JSON, but I don't like the fact that we have so many of these. Sorry. Okay. Okay, now looks better. Now my data will basically be an array of objects. And let's, for now, just say name, John Doe, and email. Where is my copilot? john@gmail.com. And okay, that sounds good. The idea is just to get the data in this format. And I'll still go ahead and define the types for it. So just bear with me. Slowly but surely we'll get there. I feel like I'm actually thinking more about streaming than the code, but it's only normal. It's the first day. And now if you can see, my get data returns the data, right? But what I will actually do is I will return an object just to make sure it is exactly same as Axios. I don't want to waste time on setting up Laravel and Vue right now together, the sanctum authentication and all. So that is why I'm trying to fake the response as it would come from Laravel. So here I can copy and paste this one into data. So normally when the response will come, the response will be fetched by, so this is what Laravel will return this, but Axios will wrap it inside data. And I want my data to be right here. So now I can go ahead and say data is equal to await get data. And you can hover on data and you can see we have a nice type inference from this data over here. Perfect. This again is just a store which is acting like the API. It's not really the API. But once we do implement the API from the backend, the response will be the same. So that's the main takeaway from here. Then I'm going to say loading.false. And I can right here have another ref. This will be data. Let's just call it users. That will be more semantic. So users is equal to ref. And user will basically have all of this, the data, right? So this is where I need to define my first type. So this is where we get into like the real TypeScript. Okay. And this is very interesting because I was doing for the project, and then I had to come up with, this is a pain. If you work in Nuxt.js or Next.js and you're doing your front end and back end together, and you're working on TypeScript, so your type safety goes on both levels, your front end as well as your back end. So you change a type or anything on the back end, the changes are reflected on the front end as well, right? Because it's the same language, TypeScript, and you're writing your full project in one language, which is so cool in terms of DX. But when you get to work on a project where you have two different languages, of course JavaScript or TypeScript on the front end and PHP or Python or any of the languages on the back end, then this you have to manually keep track of the types or use some sort of type chain, which again is just another way of doing things. So I'm going to create a new folder here. I like to create folders instead of just a file on the root. I don't need more than these two files on my root. So I'm going to create a types folder. I'm going to create a new file. Let me just zoom it in a little bit. And I'll just call it laravel.ts. The reason I'm calling it Laravel is because this file is going to contain types which are dependent on Laravel. So the Laravel's data types. Let's put it this side. The first type is going to be, let's export the type, export type. Again, I'm not reading code from anywhere. I only have one screen. That's why whenever I go back to my, to this screen, like I have to show it to you guys. So, which is not so good. So before I do that, let me just double check my messages, because again, that's something that comes with live streaming. So just give me 30 more seconds. Okay, I'm back. So apparently there are 3 people watching me on my YouTube. Interesting. Okay. All right. All right. So this is where we're going to define type. So now here onwards, everything that I'll do, I'll try to explain it because again, I get into this shell that nobody's watching, so I shouldn't really do anything and just try to code. But that's not me. So I need a type for this data. This data comes from backend. No matter what data I fetch from backend, it will always, always, always come in this format on the app that I'm working. And in general, when you're working with Laravel as a backend, this is the exact format that you will get unless you're not paginating the data. But pagination is good, like just paginate your data. And when you want more data, click on the next page, the next page button, or put infinite scrolling or whatever. You never put 1000 rows straight to the user. So let's just take away. Now this is a nice trick that I use to define types. So I'm going to take this entire thing over here. So this is going to be an export type equal to this. And let's just select all the numbers that we have here, the first four ones, and I'm going to give it the type of number. Okay, let me do one first and then export type. What is the syntax for type? Sorry. Export. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I know what's the issue here. Export type, and the name of type will be Laravel resource. These will be numbers. These will be strings. Okay. So let's just select all of them. The ones that are string. I didn't mean to select the last one, but I still have. So let's just say string. Sorry, my mic is covering my keyboard. So we have the total number of rows that are in the database per page. How many we are showing? We have the current page, the last page. This is just for pagination. And then all these strings, the path. So from 1 to, and this is again, this will be a number. This will also be a number. Then we got data over here, and this is going to be an array, and this is interesting. Right now, I'm assuming I'm fetching the data of a user. So this is a user, but it will never be user, or it will only be user if I'm fetching a user. What if I fetch posts? What if I fetch categories? This will change. So I will make it a generic or a variable type t, and it will always be an array of t's. And over here, I think the syntax is like this, right? So now if I hover over my type, you can see where is my data. My data type is t. So whatever I pass to my Laravel resource, it will have the type, it will have that type. So now in case of posts, I can pass it the type of posts, and then again, it will be a Laravel resource of posts, and so on. So so far so good, I think. I need another one because normally the data that again, I'm not talking about Laravel resource. If you're a Laravel person, you'll be like, hey, if you're using the API, we would probably be using Laravel resource, right? Or a Laravel collection. And the format for a Laravel collection is different. It's not this, that's the default one. What I'm talking about is this. If you search for Laravel resource collection, and let me go to collection. How far down is it? Yeah. So see, the format for collection is different. You have the data, and then you have links. Again, that is something that I will also tackle within this project that I'm going to, this component that I'm building. But that is for later. For now, I'm assuming that the data that is returned is just paginated data. And later on, we can make it dynamic and handle those two other cases as well. Again, so let's go ahead and do that. So we have Laravel resource. We need another one because every time Laravel returns something, we can safely assume, at least in my case, um, I can safely assume that let's just call it Laravel resource object. And this is going to be this everything in database that we store is it always has an ID. So the ID is going to be a number. Then another thing which is a standard in Laravel is created at created at, and this is going to be a string as well, and also updated at. Okay. So we have ID, created at, updated at. You can add more, but this is the minimal requirement, right? Another thing, most of these values will be null, right? An ID will never be null, but an ID can be a number or a string. But Laravel, by default, it will always give you a number when the response comes back. So you can safely keep it to number. Otherwise, you could also do number or string, but I'm not going to do that. Right. Created at, it is optional. Updated at is also optional. This could also be null. So whenever I'm defining types, this is what I usually do. I'll make them optional and I'm also make them null. That way, I'm pretty sure that I'm not making an assumption that the value will always be there, and then TypeScript will force me to handle the null case. So same goes here. Data will never be null. Data will always be an array. Total will always be there. Per page will always be there. But I'm going to make some of them optional. From, I don't need. It can be undefined. Path, I need path always. Previous page URL, this could be null actually. It's already null. Wow. It could be a string or null, and it is also optional. And then next page URL is going to be string or null, and it is also optional. It's not optional. Next page URL has to be there in every case. Last page URL, I think I can make this optional because my pagination is really not dependent on it. And when I start calling the component, you'll get to realize it. So the first page URL, it will be, yeah, it could also be null. Let's keep it null too. Last page, yeah, this is also optional. I really don't need it. If I need it, and if I'm pretty sure, like 100% sure that these can never be null, and Laravel always will make sure that it puts some value in it, then I'll definitely go ahead and change them. But it's safe, better safe than sorry. I'll also just make it null because these are not what my code depends on. My code mainly depends on this one, the next page URL. So I'm just going to take it a little further up. Total to and from. In fact, the order really doesn't matter. Per page, yeah, it does matter, but not as much. So I'm also, well, this can be null. If you don't return me API, I'm still gonna function without it. So data, total, and to be very honest, I'm now making everything nullable, but it makes sense. So let me just put all the required ones at the top and non-required ones below. Where's my next page URL? Yeah, this can be null, but it is required. It will always have to have. So if the next page URL, it means we're at the last page and there is no next page, so we will not fetch more data. Okay, perfect. Sounds good so far. Looks good so far, rather. Okay, now I have my types here. I can go ahead and use those types. Again, I'm exporting these types, so I don't really need to do much here. I can access them anywhere in my application. Okay, so Laravel types are done. Instead of just returning the data from the data, actually, I'm going to do something here. And I'm going to basically create my first data table. Again, we're not focusing on the styling or anything at the moment. Our goal is just to have a functional data table. Okay, so if I go back to my app.view file, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, there is some issue with it is working. It is more of an issue with my configuration. So if you see these errors, this is because my project settings are super high. If I reload my my Volar, it goes away for a second. So file is not listed within the project folders. Okay. What I can do for this one is I can go to my tsconfig, tsconfig app, include source. Actually, I'm including all the source files, but I also need to include all the TS files actually. Should fix the issue. Reload. tsconfig.app.json. tsconfig.app.json. Every single TS file, you should actually already do TS. Include types. Oh, I see. I see. I see. I see. I see the issue here. Because I'm not importing these types anywhere, right? So that is why if I go to my types, oh, sorry, my stores, TS, it is being imported in here, right? Store/root, store/root, and it's in my app dot. So let's just say dot/store/root. Again, this is some TypeScript issues, which again, I haven't really even configured my, I'm going by the default configuration. So okay, I think we should fix it first before we move on. Stores.ts, src stores, and src, it should pick stores, shouldn't it? It should pick src. Let's do one more thing here. Let's just tell it manually, which is a stupid idea. But if I do, and if it still doesn't pick, then it is to do more with my setup. Stores, src/stores. Come on. Don't tell me that it's still not valid. Okay, I'm gonna fix a couple of other issues. This has to go to my to user settings. So these are just spelling mistakes that it is telling me, because Axios is not really a word in the dictionary of the library that I'm using. Is data not a word? Okay, it is a word actually, but we're never using it. Pattern. tsconfig.app.json. This is such a weird error. I'm also running Volar restart, but it's not working. Like, it's picking it up. See, it's picking it up, but it's for some reason in my tsconfig.app.js, it is more like a Vue TypeScript thing, but it's not an issue really. Let's just not focus on it for now. We'll do it maybe later. But anyways, I have my users, I have my data. So now I can say users.data, user.value is equal to data. That works. And down here, in fact, let me go back to my store. let's add a couple of data over here. So name and email. Let's add another one. Let's ask Copilot to help us. Jane@gmail.com. And if you take a look at the data over here, where is data? Data, this, right? Since I'm using TypeScript, my users, I want this to have a type of, I can go back here, in fact, and I can basically define a type for my user. Okay. Now that's very interesting. I can define a type for my user. So I'm going to basically keep the example of user in the next tutorials as well. So for that reason, I'm going to my types and let's add a new file here. And this will be users.ts. And let's export a new type. User is equal to, name is going to be string. Email is also going to be string. And we can keep adding more later, but for now that should be it. And the reason I'm doing right now is very simple. So imagine I have ref here, and let's just say it's null for now, but it cannot be null. If it is null, TypeScript will yell at you that it cannot be null. So you can say null or an object, and now it won't yell at you. But the object is still very vague. Okay, let's just say object for now. Because this is object is what I'm going to change with the user. So the reason I'm telling you is, now if you hover over user, we don't get any type inferences. So let's say if I do want to display users here, h1 users, let's just create a div, or maybe let's just create an unordered list for the sake of demonstration, and within that a list item. And we're going to create a v-for. This is going to be v-for. Sorry, I'm not in Java in React right now, so I don't need to use my curly braces too much. So v-for user in users. So we have users. We're looping over users. Let's add one more thing to the users, and that will be the ID of the user, and it will always be a number. Okay, let's go back to the here. So we can say user in users, and also in my root, I need to add the ID. 1, and the second ID will be 2. And it's yelling at me because I haven't set any key, so user.id. And then I can say user dot, again, now since the type of users is not user, right? So we don't really know, we don't have any type inference here, so no type safety here, which is what we, again, the ID doesn't exist on user, the name doesn't exist on user, the common error, the common TypeScript error that you'll get to see. So we have two ways. One, we should tell the get data what kind of data we are returning. That will solve a lot of issues. So if I go back to my store over here, and I can I don't want to define another type actually, but I will have to define another type. Type, let's say the type is data. Okay, or maybe the type is response. Dummy response, and this is going to have a data, and this will be a generic, because this is the data. This is the type that I actually want to define here. Normally, it will be an Axios response. And where it will be, I'm going to show you. So normally, I would type here Axios response, and that will give me the type inference for that. But here, I'm just going to say dummy response, and I'm going to pass it the type of user. Okay, and again, I'll have to import the user type from import user from types. I really need to configure my add slash types. That should do it. You don't really need to tell it the name of the file. If you say types, anything that is exported within this folder, it will be available. All right. This issue, by the way, is more of a TypeScript configuration issue. I will spend a bit of time on TypeScript configuration, but I don't want to do that right now. So where is my tsconfig? Let's go to tsconfig, alias, src. It's already there, but for some reason my TypeScript configuration is not really going through, but we'll see that later on. So we have the user from types, import type user from types. Why on earth is this not working? Okay, let's just say slash types. Yeah, I need to really do my TypeScript big configuration before I can start using my types. Can I find module at slash types? Okay, can you find this one? Users. I'm pretty sure it does. But for some reason, it should actually be able to do without that. But again, I have to like tell it, look into the users, which now it does. If you look over it, we have the type user over here. So now I'm passing it a type of user. The total object literally only specify non-property total does not exist on type user. Okay, I see what you mean. This is not going to be a user. It is going to be what is the array? This is an array of Laravel response. And actually, it doesn't have to be an array, basically. It can be just an object. All right. So data is going to be an object. And this is going to be Laravel resource. And the Laravel resource will take the type of user. And I also need to import Laravel resource. Normally, it should just work with that, but I will fix that later. I don't want to spend too much time on my TypeScript configuration. But ideally, we should be importing both of them from slash types slash Laravel. Laravel resource, is it? Yeah, it is. So we still have some issues. Dummy response, which is our data, which takes the type of Laravel resource, yeah, and then the type of user. So shouldn't it work? Let's for a second say we're not returning. Okay, let me configure my prettier first, so at least I can get the formatting done. Data. Let's say I'm not returning yet. A function whose declare type is neither undefined void nor any must return a value. Okay. And am I not returning the return type of an async? Oh, okay. Oh, async function must be of. Okay, sorry. I need to write. It will return a promise. I forgot. And now it gets fixed. So a lot of wrapping here, which we will unwrap later once we have the API working. But you get the idea. The entire idea now is because we want to be able to get the type inference over here. So if I look at the data, now you can say our data is Laravel resource user. And okay, it's not working actually, not working as I would have thought it would. And the reason is, if we have the users, if users, okay, then the type of user will be an object. No, 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 it's not going to be an object. It is going to be of type Laravel resource user. Is it auto imported? User and Laravel resource from types slash resource. Okay, and this will be from users dot data. This is the benefit of TypeScript. I didn't know that I made a mistake, but I did make a mistake without knowing it. So now at least everything is working. And if I go to, I forgot that I have a Vite running over here, So let me just remove all my stylings, by the way, because they're a lot confusing. Let's just, where is my root? Main.ts file. Let's just remove the CSS altogether. Awesome. So we got users, and we got both John Doe and Jan Doe, and everything is type safe. So far in this, whatever we did today was just a starting point. Tomorrow we are going to replace this with the actual response from the backend. But the beautiful thing about this is we don't need to do anything in terms of types. We can safely assume every time that this method, which fetches the data from the backend, it will always fetch the data in this format, because that's what Laravel is going to do. And the next thing we'll fix tomorrow is this the TS config for us, because it's really just not working. Yeah, it's really just not picking these configurations up. So we'll have to deal with those as well. And we have to do a lot of cleaning. So tomorrow we will set up our backend. We will set up the initial component, and we'll make sure that our TypeScript doesn't yell at us, and a couple of other IDE things. So let me also remove this one, and let's just make commits for today. Actually, I'm going to add all of it into one commit, because I'm pretty sure this is not really even a valid commit. So initial project, what should I name it? Initial project, initial TypeScript, types, edit. Okay, very simple. Let's push it to the master branch, which is not a good practice, but still it is something that is happening. But anyways, it was a nice day. I think I spent a lot of time already, like 1.5 hours already. I'll probably do a longer sprint tomorrow or the day after. The goal is to do this component from start to finish. By the time I'm finished, I'm pretty sure you guys will, if anyone is interested in this project, you guys will know what we really built, because this is actually something super cool and something that I haven't found online, any alternative. So that's why I'm trying to build it myself. So anyways, I hope my first stream went through well, and you guys will keep watching this video maybe some other day or whenever you come across it. So, all right, good night to all of you, and I will be signing off right now. Thank you.